Hello, hi Achievers! I am here today with Mr. Everton Greguer, an amazing English teacher who had the most outstanding scores on his CPE. And today I am delighted to bring him here to answer some of the questions that you have been asking him over and over again. He's ready to answer all of them here at once. So let's get ready for that. Everton, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, thank you very much. It's really kind of you. My name is Everton, and I work as an English teacher in Brazil. I'm 23 years old. I started teaching English 7 years ago, so I was really young when I started. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I decided to take the exam, because I thought it would be a really cool qualification to have, and I think it would help me gain more confidence as a teacher, and it's really helped me. It's boosted my confidence, and I'm really happy about my results as well. And I think that's it.
So you wanted to take the CPE, but nobody asked you to take it, right?
No, it wasn't like something that anybody forced me to do. I really wanted, because I've always wanted to take a Cambridge examination, and I wasn't sure whether I should try the CAE first or the CPE. And then a teacher recommended that I do a practice test, and she said I could try the CPE. That's why I went for this one.
Okay, and now that you have it, what's the difference? Did it increase your salary already?
Well, actually, not only do I work at a language school, but also as a private English teacher. And yeah, I've been charging a little bit more because I feel like I'm more confident as a teacher now, because I've been through this process and it's helped me understand the language a lot better. And now I feel like I'm a better teacher than I was before.
Okay. All right. So I have my questions written here. That's why I'm looking down. My first question is, had you taken any other Cambridge exam before the CPE?
In fact, I hadn't. It was my first Cambridge examination. I did take TOEFL before, but when I was at college, it's a different test, not really like the Cambridge ones. And I got a certificate stating that I have ability at level C1, but it wasn't really like the Cambridge exam. So I never sat for a Cambridge examination before. It was my first time.
Yeah, so I will show your exam and your amazing scores to everybody who is watching right now, okay? Do you mind?
That's okay. Actually, I got my certificate yesterday. It just arrived.
Okay. Do you have it there?
Yeah, it's here. I don't know if it's possible to show it. Just arrived.
Woohoo! Amazing. All right. So please send it to me by email so that I can display it here when we edit. Okay?
Okay.
Right. So I am going to show your amazing scores right now. So Everton, how long did it take you to prepare for the CPE?
I always like to give my best shot every time I try to do something that's challenging. Like I studied for a year, and then I decided to sign up and really take the exam. So I took the exam in December after a year of preparation, and I only did it when I felt confident that I could pass it.
What do you consider to be the hardest part of the exam, and why?
So before taking the exam, I thought the hardest part would be writing, but actually now I believe it's listening, because when you do the exam, you're already really tired by the time you start the listening test. So your concentration wavers, and it's really hard to concentrate and answer the questions and understand what you hear. So I believe that's the hardest part.
Okay. How did you prepare for the exam?
So, well, the first thing I did was a lot of revision, because I think it's really important if you want to get.
You did what? Sorry?
A lot of revision.
Revision, okay.
Yeah. I looked at some past papers, and I started to do practice tests as often as I could. and because I thought I really needed to do it. I really needed to feel confident in order to pass it. And I only decided to sign up for the exam once I was really feeling confident. So I did a lot of practice tests. I tried to start watching movies in English, but paying more attention to the expressions that native speakers use. Because I think one of the things that are essential to pass this test is to not only understand what people say, but also try to sound more natural, to use the same level of expressions and vocabulary as native speakers. So I thought that was really important, and I did it as well. I tried to read as many books as I could, and I think that helped me a lot because I love books and it's always helped me with everything I do. So it helped me a lot. I don't think I would have succeeded without books, and I think we're going to talk about that later as well.
When you took your speaking part, when you were taking the speaking part of the exam,
Yeah.
did you talk? Did you speak as naturally as you're doing right now, or did you go in search for words, or did you have chunks of language and structures that you had prepared for the speaking part?
Well, actually, I think I wasn't as confident as I am right now because for some reason I got really nervous before the exam. And when I entered the room and the examiner started asking the questions, I didn't say exactly what I wanted. Like, I thought of things to say and I couldn't really say them. So I left the room thinking I hadn't done so well, but it was just because I was nervous. Actually, I think I did well, and I spoke confidently, but I was really nervous at the same time. I don't know if it makes sense. But yeah, I think I was speaking like this because it's the way I usually talk to my students, so the way I'm used to speaking. I probably spoke like I'm doing now, but I was more nervous.
Yeah, I think everybody leaves the room after the speaking part really nervous. Everybody leaves the room feeling, oh, I'm not going to pass this exam, right?
But now that I recall the experience, I think I did try to use some high level of vocabulary because when they asked me the question, I started thinking about the topic, and like in 1 or 2 seconds, I remember vocabulary that I had studied at that level. For example, I used books such as English Vocabulary English Advanced, which helped me a lot. So
can you give some examples of the things you used?
Yes. For example, when they asked me about my city, I thought that I had to use vocabulary at a higher level. So instead of saying just simple things like where I live and what I think about the city, I tried to use some expressions like, because I live in a very small town, and I compared it to some other big cities that I know. I said it's not as chaotic as some cities like São Paulo. It's a very peaceful place. It's very different than the bustling centers that I know in other regions of Brazil. And I think using these expressions may have helped me get a better score because I've heard from a lot of people that you need to use a higher level of vocabulary if you want to be awarded a good mark. So I think I did well in that respect.
Yes, you did. Your scores prove that, right?
Yeah, I got 220 in speaking, much more than I thought I would. So I'm really happy. So the phrasal verbs in use book helped me a lot because in many parts of the exam, you have to understand or use a lot of phrasal verbs in order to sound more natural. And when I was doing the speaking part of the test, I think I was able to carry it off perfectly. I used a lot of phrasal verbs, like when I was talking about the importance of being confident, like when you're doing business, for example. I said that success hinges upon 8 factors, and I think that's the level of phrasal verbs they're expecting, the level of expression and vocabulary they expect you to use. So I think that's how I got that score.
Perfect. Okay, so I have some more questions here. If you could recommend only one book, tell us about it. What book would you recommend for CPE?
That's the easiest question because the book that helped me the most by far was that one by Oxford, Masterclass Proficiency, because I think it's the most comprehensive book. It takes you through the exam in a very thorough and methodic way. It explains everything you're supposed to do. It explains what the examiners are looking at in each part of the test and helps you prepare in a much better way than other books do. Because there are books which are really helpful if you want to have an idea what the exam is like, but they don't teach you as many things as that one. So I recommend Masterclass Proficiency for sure.
Okay. So Everton, how would the guidance of a teacher have helped you save time while preparing?
So I believe since I'm a teacher, I can understand much better how important the guidance of a teacher is in that process. And I think it's because I help students to prepare for exams such as the C2 first exam. And there are students who, like from the very beginning, ask me what they can do, in order to prepare for the writing part of the test, in order to prepare for speaking. And then the tips I give them help them a lot. And I think if I had a teacher who could do the same thing with me when I was preparing for proficiency, that would have been incredible. But I didn't. I did it all by myself because I didn't sign up for any preparation course. And I think I really struggled, especially with writing, because I didn't have anyone to look at my written work and give me feedback. I think that would have been really important and would have
And how about
accelerated the process.
Okay, how about the amount of time it took you to find material online? Do you think it would have been faster if you had guidance?
Definitely, because I was in the dark at the beginning. I didn't know what materials to use. So I think it would have been much easier if
I'm saying that because the amount of information we find online nowadays is overwhelming, and we are not sure of what is trustworthy and what's not, what is a good source of material and what's not, and the time it takes to, to decide which material to use also is really time consuming, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's really finding updated material about the proficiency exam, because there are some which were designed in order to prepare students for the older versions of the exam, and they're not really updated, so I didn't know if they were reliable. So it took me some time to find reliable material.
Okay, and how much did it cost you to prepare? How much did you spend?
Well, I was thinking about it, and I come to the conclusion that I spent a lot, because I decided to invest a lot in books, as much on books as on the exam itself.
Okay.
But I think it was a great investment.
Okay. Do you think you could have done it faster? Do you think that if somebody had guided you throughout the process, given you the right material, told you what to do, corrected your writings, everything, could you have done it in like 6 months?
I think so. Actually, when I decided to do the exam, I was still at college. I didn't have much free time to dedicate to the exam and to devote to my studies. But once I finished college, I started really devoting more of my time to this preparation. So I think if I'd had the guidance of a teacher, it would have been even better, because then things would have worked more, I think, more naturally, because when a teacher tells you what to do, you don't have to work it out by yourself. For example, when it comes to writing, I was never sure if my essays were good enough. And in fact, when I left the exam room, I wasn't sure if I'd done well in writing, because I had never gotten any kind of feedback on my writing. So I wasn't sure if I'd done well. And I did as well in writing as I did in speaking, so I was surprised.
How long have you been teaching English?
Well, I started when I was 17. I was really young, uh, and I had this opportunity because I met the coordinator of an English school, and he invited me for an interview, and it was amazing because I'd always, you know, wanted to be a teacher, but I never thought it would actually happen. It happened earlier than I thought it would, and I was really happy.
Uh-huh.
But now it's been almost 7 years.
Okay. And when did you start studying English in your life?
Well, I was always passionate about English when I was at school, but since I never actually did an English course at a private school, I don't think my English was great because you know how basic education works here in Brazil. You don't actually learn how to speak the language, and most of the classes focus on teaching you grammar. So I didn't actually speak English before, or I was a teenager. But as soon as like, I, I think I was 11 or 12 when I started to study English more seriously by myself, by watching videos on the internet. And that's how I learned most of the things. And actually, when I decided to enroll in an English course, I did an interview and I talked to the coordinator of the school, actually it's the school where I currently work, and she said I could start the course at the advanced level. So I actually only studied for 2 years.
Excellent, amazing. And so you, with that experience of yours, I mean, just recalling here, you never had the opportunity to study English in a formal private language center.
Exactly.
And then you
My
started,
experience.
yes, so you started studying English by yourself, mostly searching online and listening to music and watching movies when you were around 11. And then
Yeah.
finally, when you decided to study English, you found a course, they already placed you in the advanced level. And then you started teaching English.
Yes,
And then with this experience is how you ended up passing the CPE with such high scores.
exactly.
All right, so taking that into account, do you think if a person is really dedicated and decided to pass this exam, do you think anyone can pass it even if they hadn't had the opportunity to live abroad?
Definitely. Actually, I've never lived abroad, and I tell that to people because a lot of people believe that you can only be a good teacher if you've had experiences abroad, lived abroad. But I don't think that's true, and my experience goes to show that it's not really necessary to live abroad to reach a higher level of English. If you study even by yourself, but if
Thank
you
you.
really dedicate yourself, I think it's possible.
Excellent. Perfect. This is what I keep telling people too. All right, Everton, thank you very much. Would you like to tell people where you live? Would you like to give them your contact if they need you as a teacher? If anybody would like to get in touch with you to prepare for exams, where should they contact you?
Definitely. Yeah, because actually I live in Datuba. It's the city near Campinas in São Paulo, Brazil. And now I'm starting to work on Instagram to promote my work on Instagram because I think it's one of the best platforms on the internet. And my account is EFL Teacher. Then there is an underscore, but no spaces. So it's EFL Teacher underscore. And that's where I'm starting to promote my work because I used to, like, I didn't used to have time to do this when I was at college. And now that I've graduated, I'm starting to dedicate all of my time to teaching. And now I'm actually starting to teach online as well. And if anybody's interested in contacting me to ask me about my classes and the methodology I use, I would really appreciate it. And feel free to do it. Nowadays, I really want to do this with my life because when I was finishing college, I actually undertook a study to investigate what exactly Brazilian professionals need in terms of language ability. And I did a lot of research about that. And now that I think I have some expertise in this area, I want to put it into practice and I want to help people out. People who want to do this exam as well. I think now I have more experience and I'm capable of providing them with like the guidance that they need. So that's what I want to do this year. And I would really like to continue to teach. Because a lot of people think that teaching is not really a great career, but I don't think so. I love it. I think I'm cut out for this. I really love what I do. That's why I've been doing it for 7 years.
Well, when you receive that as a gift, when teaching is your power, you cannot deny it and you cannot get rid of it. Everybody who's a good teacher simply adores teaching, and I totally understand what you mean. So I am going to leave Everton Greguer's information down here. You're going to find links, whatever he tells me that I can give you. I don't know if he will allow me to give you his telephone number, but
you can do it. Great.
I will put everything down there. You just search for it and you can find Everton Greguer. He will be teaching CPE, CAE, FCE, IELTS, and I don't know, maybe TOEFL as well. Right? Okay, TOEFL is a little bit different because it's not one of the Cambridge exams. However, everything becomes a bundle, right? It's preparing for exams, and it's a way of thinking. It's a coaching method. We guide you to pass the exam as fast as possible, spending less time and less money. So if you're looking for a great teacher, Everton Greguer is here to help you out. His scores are here to prove how good he is, and please get in touch. All right? Thank you very much. See you next time. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.